It's older than Rome, wilder than the Amazon, and smaller than Ireland. Yet within this tiny teardrop of land hidden in the heart of the Indian Ocean lives one of the densest tapestries of life, ritual, and ancient wonder anywhere on Earth. This is Sri Lanka. A place where kings carved palaces into cliffs, where monks still walk barefoot beneath trees planted 2,000 years ago, and where a single sacred footprint is shared by 4 great religions. Here, leopards vanish into silence, drums echo across misted mountaintops, and rainforests breathe in a language older than memory itself. In this journey, we'll step beyond the known, into unseen worlds, forgotten kingdoms, and wild sanctuaries where ancient secrets still shape the land. Welcome to Unseen Sri Lanka. Rising nearly 660 feet above the emerald canopy of Sri Lanka's central plains, one colossal stone breaks the horizon, a fortress carved from myth and ambition. This is Sigiriya. Over 1,500 years ago, King Kashyapa, the son of a non-royal consort, seized the throne through bloodshed. Hunted and feared, he sought an unassailable refuge, and he chose this volcanic rock monolith as his citadel. What he built was staggering, a palace atop the clouds surrounded by a complex of water gardens, moats, and defensive walls, a masterpiece of urban planning unmatched for its time. The water gardens below, perfectly symmetrical, still channel rainwater through ancient hydraulic systems engineered with mathematical precision, a feat that baffles archaeologists to this day. Climbing Sigiriya is like scaling time itself. Halfway up, you reach the mirror wall, once so highly polished the king could see his reflection. Today, it bears inscriptions from visitors dating back to the 8th century, some of the oldest known graffiti in the world. Nearby, vibrant frescoes of celestial maidens known as the Sigiriya damsels still cling to the rock face, surviving 15 centuries of monsoon and sun. Higher still, massive lion's paws carved into the stone guard the narrow stairway to the summit. At the top, the ruins of Kashyapa's palace spread across the flattened rock, audience halls, bathing pools, and throne rooms, all built atop this isolated pinnacle. From here, the view stretches for miles across the cultural triangle, a sea of green, temples, and ancient cities lost to time. Sigiriya is not just a fortress, it is a testament to human audacity, and a place where ambition, art, and legend collide above the jungle. But just beyond this mighty throne lies another rock, humbler, quieter, and guarding secrets the kings themselves revered. PIDURANGALA Rock, secret twin viewpoint of kings. Just a mile from Sigiriya's mighty throne, another rock rises from the jungle, quieter, rougher, and steeped in even older secrets. This is PIDURANGALA, Before King Kashyapa claimed Sigiriya for his sky palace, this mountain was a sacred retreat for Buddhist monks. When Kashyapa arrived, legend says he respectfully relocated the monastery to PIDURANGALA, expanding it into a sprawling monastic complex carved directly into the stone. The climb begins with ancient worn steps leading through the ruins of meditation platforms and monastic cells, silent witnesses to centuries of devotion. Midway up, beneath a massive rock overhang, lies a colossal reclining Buddha, 46 feet long, carved in brick and plaster over 1,000 years ago. Though weathered by time, it remains one of the largest ancient Buddha statues on the island. The final ascent demands scrambling over giant boulders, a raw, untamed climb compared to Sigiriya's regal stairways. But the reward at the summit is beyond imagination. From PIDURANGALA's flat crest, Sigiriya appears in full, its vertical walls rising like a stone ship from an endless green sea. No photograph captures the feeling standing at the edge of this ancient landscape, watching the morning mist swirl, realizing you're gazing upon the very heart of Sri Lanka's cultural triangle. Here, the air is thinner, the world feels older, and the vision of kings and monks alike unfolds before your eyes. PIDURANGALA is more than just a hidden viewpoint, it is a forgotten pilgrimage, a place where ambition and humility, power and devotion once stared at each other across a jungle veil. And deeper beyond these twin sentinels, in the oldest cities of the island, an even greater legacy of faith and endurance awaits. Anuradhapura, sacred cities and timeless pilgrims. Long before Sigiriya rose to the sky, another city ruled Sri Lanka's destiny. A city where faith, engineering and kingship merged into one. This is Anuradhapura. Founded in the 4th century BC, Anuradhapura served as the island's capital for over 1,300 years, longer than the Roman Empire itself. At its height, it was one of the most advanced cities in the ancient world, a marvel of colossal stupas, royal palaces, intricate reservoirs and vast monastic universities. Even today, the sacred stupas, or dagobas, dominate the skyline. The Jetvanarama Stupa, once soaring 400 feet high, was the third tallest structure in the ancient world, behind only the Great Pyramids of Giza. Over 90 million bricks were laid by hand to raise its form. But Anuradhapura's soul is found not just in its stones, but in its trees. At the heart of the sacred city stands the Sri Mahabodhi, a fig tree grown from a cutting of the very tree under which the Buddha attained enlightenment. Planted in 288 BC, it is the oldest human-planted tree in continuous documented existence. For more than 2,000 years, pilgrims have traveled across Asia to kneel in its shade, offering prayers and petals in an unbroken tradition. Anuradhapura is not a ruin, it is a living sacred city. Monks still walk barefoot between the stupas. Lanterns flicker through twilight ceremonies. Devotees circle the ancient shrines, chanting verses passed down through centuries. Here, time bends, the past and present woven together in a single endless offering. But as we move beyond these ancient stones and sacred roots, the jungle thickens once more, guarding an even older kingdom. A kingdom not built by kings, but by the wild itself. Sinharaja Rainforest, ancient rainforests and untamed life. Before kings ruled and temples rose, Sri Lanka belonged to the forest. And nowhere does that ancient world survive more vividly than here, in the Sinharaja Rainforest. Meaning Lion Kingdom in Sinhala, Sinharaja is the last viable remnant of Sri Lanka's once vast tropical rainforests, a living, breathing relic of Earth's prehistoric past. Designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this dense jungle covers just 34 square miles, yet it holds an astonishing concentration of life. Over 60% of the trees are endemic, found nowhere else on the planet. The forest is home to more than 147 species of birds, 95 species of butterflies, 40 species of mammals, including purple-faced langurs, giant squirrels, and the elusive Sri Lankan leopard. Beneath the towering dipterocarp trees, the understory pulses with hidden movement, snakes, lizards, insects and flowers unseen by most eyes. This is no tame wilderness. Trails twist through tangled vines and fallen trunks. Rain clouds brew above the canopy, unleashing sudden, warm downpours that awaken every leaf and root into urgent life. Scientists believe Sinharaja represents a window into ancient Gondwana, the supercontinent that existed 180 million years ago, making it one of the oldest surviving ecosystems on Earth. Here, evolution whispers its oldest secrets. A single fallen log may host dozens of species. A single tree may support thousands. Every inch of this forest is alive, intertwined, enduring. To walk beneath Sinharaja's towering giants is to step into a memory older than humanity itself. A place where the world remembers what it once was. But beyond these primeval trees, the highlands rise, where mist wraps around ancient bridges and hidden paths weave into the clouds. Ella and Nine Arches Bridge, misty highlands and colonial mysteries. Where the lowland jungles give way to the mountains, Sri Lanka reveals another side, one born of mist, emerald hills and iron tracks threading through the clouds. This is Ella. A small town perched in the Central Highlands, Ella is a gateway to some of the island's most breathtaking landscapes. And hidden amongst its folds lies one of Sri Lanka's most iconic marvels, the Nine Arches Bridge. Built during the British colonial era in 1921, the bridge stands as a testament to ingenuity and endurance. Constructed entirely from stone and brick, without a single piece of steel, the Nine Arches Bridge stretches 300 feet across a lush ravine, soaring 80 feet above the forest floor. Legend says that when World War I disrupted shipments of steel, local builders completed the structure using only traditional materials, a feat of engineering that has survived for over a century. Today, twice a day, bright blue trains rattle across the bridge, framed by a world of swirling mists, tea gardens, and soaring palms. Watching a train cross the Nine Arches is like watching history in motion, a living relic of an empire now reclaimed by the forest. But beyond the bridge, Ella's Highland beckons adventurers further. Hike to Little Adams Peak for sweeping views of the valleys below. Wander through endless tea plantations where Tamil tea pluckers still move through the rows, carrying forward a tradition begun under British rule. The air here is cooler, thinner, touched with the scent of wildflowers and wet earth. Ella is a place where time slows, where echoes of colonial ambition meet the quiet resilience of the land itself. But beyond the rolling green, another summit calls, a mountain revered by kings, pilgrims, and travelers alike for over 1,000 years. Adams Peak, sacred pilgrimage and sunrise miracles. In the heart of Sri Lanka's highlands, one solitary mountain pierces the clouds, a peak that has called kings, saints, and travelers for over 1,000 years. This is Adams Peak. Known locally as Sri Pada, the Sacred Footprint, this 7,359 foot or 2,243 meter conical mountain is revered by 4 major religions. Buddhists believe the footprint at the summit belongs to the Buddha. Hindus attribute it to Shiva. Muslims and Christians believe it's the first footprint of Adam after his fall from Eden. And so, through the centuries, pilgrims have come. The journey traditionally begins in the dead of night. Along stone staircases and winding forest trails, thousands of tiny lights flicker in the darkness, a luminous river of devotion stretching up the mountain's flank. The climb is steep, 5,500 steps cut from rock and earth. The air grows thinner, the world quieter. Only the sound of prayer wheels, temple bells, and whispered mantras break the silence. At the summit, pilgrims gather, breathless, awaiting a miracle. As dawn breaks, the rising sun casts a perfect triangular shadow of the peak onto the misty valleys below, a phenomenon so precise and so fleeting it feels like the mountain itself is breathing. There, at the edge of the world, pilgrims light incense, offer flowers, and lay their hands on the sacred stone, connecting across centuries of faith and longing. Adams Peak is more than just a climb. It is a journey across belief, endurance, and wonder. A place where every sunrise reawakens the sacred, and every footprint remembers the stories that shaped the island. But as we descend from sacred heights, another world awaits, a land of cool mist, endless green, and the delicate art of tea. NUWARA ELIYA, Tea Empires and Little England. As the highland trails wind lower from Adams Peak, a new world unfurls, one shaped not by kings or monks, but by empires seeking fortune. Welcome to NUWARA, ELIYA. Nested nearly 6,200 feet above sea level, NUWARA, ELIYA is known as Little England, a cool climate town born in the 19th century when British colonists sought refuge from the island's tropical heat. Here, Tudor-style mansions, rose gardens and a golf course founded in 1889 still echo the colonial past. But NUWARA, ELIYA's true legacy is written across its endless hillsides, in the neat, endless rows of tea. In the 1860s, after a devastating coffee blight, the British turned these cool highlands into a vast tea empire. Today, Sri Lanka, still known worldwide by its colonial name Ceylon, is the world's fourth largest tea producer. Fields stretch as far as the eye can see, cloaking the hills in waves of green. Tamil tea pluckers, descendants of labourers brought from southern India, still move through the bushes with practiced grace, selecting the finest 2 leaves and a bud by hand, just as they have for over 150 years. Visiting a working tea estate like the Pedro Tea Factory founded in 1885 offers a glimpse into the intricate craftsmanship behind every cup, withering, rolling, oxidizing and drying, a ritual honed over generations. The air here carries the mingled scent of wet earth, eucalyptus and fresh tea. Mist often rolls across the landscape in the afternoon, softening every view into a watercolored dreamscape. NUWARA, ELIYA is a place where time seems to blend, where Victorian gardens and ancient hills meet under a veil of mountain mist. But beyond these cultivated slopes, a wider shore calls, where secret beaches curve under the palms, and the rhythm of the surf shapes a hidden paradise. HIRIKETIYA Bay, hidden beaches and surf sanctuaries. Beyond the misty highlands, Sri Lanka's southern coast unfolds, wild, warm and whispering with secrets. Hidden among its rocky coves and swaying palms lies a small sanctuary the world is only just beginning to discover. This is HIRIKETIYA Bay. Shaped like a perfect horseshoe, HIRIKETIYA's sheltered waters create an oasis of calm, a place where crystal-clear waves curl gently towards soft, golden sands. Long untouched by major development, HIRIKETIYA retains the spirit of an older Sri Lanka, intimate, relaxed, and deeply tied to the rhythms of nature. The bay's surf break, though modest in size, is revered by surfers for its clean, glassy waves, ideal for beginners and experienced riders alike. And it's not just the water that draws travelers here. Beneath the jungle canopy surrounding the bay, a growing community of small cafes, yoga retreats and eco-lodges have sprung up, all built to blend into the natural landscape rather than dominate it. The pace of life in HIRIKETIYA slows to the pull of the tides. Morning swims, long lazy afternoons under the coconut palms, evenings of seafood grilled over open fires, and conversations carried by ocean breezes. Unlike the bustling beaches of Sri Lanka's southwest, HIRIKETIYA remains a hidden enclave, a place where the beauty of the island is preserved in simplicity. For now, the bay still belongs more to fishermen, surfers and sea turtles than to crowds or concrete. But even in this pocket of paradise, change lingers on the horizon. HIRIKETIYA reminds us, the most precious places are often the most fragile. Beyond this secluded shore, the ocean deepens, and along its hidden highways, giants stir beneath the waves. MIRISSA, Whale Highways and Sunset Dreams. Where Sri Lanka's southern shores kiss the Indian Ocean, the land seems to sigh and open wide, into beaches of gold, waters of sapphire, and skies that melt into fire at dusk. This is MIRISSA. A once sleepy fishing village, MIRISSA today is famous for a secret that stirs beneath its waves. One of the world's best places to see blue whales. Between November and April, the warm, plankton-rich currents here transform the southern coast into a hidden highway for migrating giants. The blue whale, the largest animal ever to have lived, reaches lengths of up to 100 feet, larger than a Boeing 737. Early morning boat expeditions set out from MIRISSA's tiny harbour, chasing sprouts on the horizon. Sometimes all you see at first is a distant plume of mist, a quiet exhalation that betrays something vast and ancient moving beneath the surface. And then it happens. A massive back arcs out of the water, a fin flashes, and, if you're lucky, a towering tail lifts high into the air before vanishing into the depths. Alongside blue whales, sperm whales, bride's whales and spinner dolphins also frequent these waters, making Sri Lanka one of the richest marine mammal habitats in the Indian Ocean. But MIRISSA is not only about ocean giants. Back on shore, palm-fringed beaches offer quiet corners for sunrise yoga, fresh seafood feasts, and long walks along the tide line, where fishermen still set sail at dawn in wooden catamarans. And when sunset comes, MIRISSA transforms again, the sea catching every shade of fire, gold, and violet, as another day disappears into the great breathing blue. But just beyond the curve of the coast, a final fortress of stone and memory awaits, standing watch where oceans and centuries meet. GALLE Fort, stones, stories, and ocean winds. At the southwestern edge of Sri Lanka, where the Indian Ocean pounds the shore with endless force, a stone citadel rises, defiant, enduring, and alive. This is GALLE Fort. First built by the Portuguese in the 16th century and later fortified by the Dutch, GALLE Fort is the largest surviving European fortress in Asia, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where centuries of conflict, trade, and culture still echo through the cobblestone streets. Its massive coral and limestone walls, some over 40 feet thick, have withstood invasions, monsoons, and even the devastating tsunami of 2004. Walk the ramparts at sunset, and the past seems to come alive. Cannons still stand guard over the waves, and the lighthouse, Sri Lanka's oldest, built in 1848, still throws its beams across the sea. Within the walls, a different world unfolds. Dutch colonial mansions, Anglican churches, mosques, and Buddhist temples sit side by side. a testament to GALLE's layered, multicultural soul. Artisans sell lace, gems, and hand-woven textiles from family-run shops housed in centuries-old buildings. The scent of fresh cinnamon, once the treasure that drew empires here, drifts from street stalls and spice markets. GALLE is not just a museum, it is a living, breathing town where the old and new coexist. Cafes tucked into old spice warehouses, galleries set in former colonial banks, cricket games played in the shadows of ancient walls. Here, history is not just remembered, it is lived. And as the sea crashes endlessly against the fort's defenses, GALLE stands as a final testament that beauty, resilience, and memory are woven into every stone, and every story carried by the ocean winds. Across this island, barely a teardrop in the vast Indian Ocean, the worlds we have touched still breathe, still sing, still endure. In the highlands, monks greet the dawn beneath trees older than kingdoms. In the jungles, rainforests whisper secrets that once stitched continents together. Along forgotten shores, the rhythms of tide and drum still shape lives as they have for 1,000 years. And in the stones of ancient cities and the footprints left atop sacred peaks, Sri Lanka's deeper truth endures. That time is not a straight line here. It's a circle, a breath, a story told and retold through rain, rock, ritual, and ocean. Few places on Earth carry so much wonder into such a small space, and even fewer guard so many mysteries still unseen. Sri Lanka is not just a destination, it is a living, breathing testament to resilience, reverence, and the raw beauty of the wild world. And for those willing to look closer, the island still holds more secrets than any map could ever reveal. This is Sri Lanka, unseen, untamed, unforgettable. If this journey stirred your sense of wonder, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We'll keep exploring the hidden corners of our world together, uncovering lost kingdoms, wild sanctuaries, and ancient mysteries waiting just beyond the horizon. Where should we journey next? Drop your dream destinations in the comments and join us for the next adventure. Until then, stay curious, stay wild, and keep discovering.